Caddo Parish Commission meeting for September the 3rd to order. Roll call, please.
Dominic, Johnson, Williams, Lynn, Bowman,
Present.
Gage Watts, Escadade, Thibodeau, Cox, Smith, Epperson.
Hey, I felt it.
We have a quorum.
Commissioner Bowman, he leads us in invocation, and
Woody,
Commissioner
I got you.
Dominique will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Oh, gracious Father, we come once again with our heads bowed and our hearts humble, Lord. Just thanking you for this opportunity and another day. Lord, we ask for forgiveness of sins. Father God, we ask that you just continue to guide each one of us and allow what we do be for the citizens and help us to be productive and progressive. It's these and other blessings we ask in your Son Jesus' name for the city and parish. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
All face the flag and repeat after me. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Justice for all.
There you go. That was me and your part.
Are there any agenda additions? No agenda additions. Next item.
Next, we move to citizen comments.
Citizens who wish to address the commissions on any issues other than zoning, please fill out a comment card located at the chamber foyer and return to myself or the clerk of the commission. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. We have a couple of cards. First one is Rob Rosard.
Rob?
Just give us your name and address, please.
Yes, sir. Rob Broussard, 451 Sandifer, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Okay, go ahead.
Commissioners, I'd like to bring to y'all's attention a situation that has developed in the Broadmoor neighborhood area with the Oxford houses. The Oxford House is a federal program to help recovering alcoholics and drug abusers to have a place to live and to get back into society. And I'm all for that. I believe that every man deserves a second chance, or a person, especially if they're trying to work their way through recovery. The problem we have is that there are 4 of these houses within the distance that you can throw a tennis ball. And each one of these houses has up to 8 residents living in it. And the only people living in it are recovering alcoholics and drug abusers. Most of them have criminal records. I understand that one house in a neighborhood or 2 separated by distance would blend in and might fit. But to have 4 houses, each house can have up to 8 occupants. That's a lot of people living in a house in a neighborhood in that kind of situation. If you go to Akron and Pennsylvania and you stand in the middle of that intersection, 4 softballs or tennis balls thrown each direction, you would hit one of these houses. One of the houses has a carport that's open and they work out with weights, and it's right across the street from Broadmoor Middle School football field. I've had numerous residents call me, because I'm the president of the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association, and are very, very concerned that this is happening in our neighborhood. I called the Oxford House, their national organization, and their attorney said they fall under the Fair Housing Act and the Drug Rehabilitation Act. And I told him, I understand that there are laws that would protect you doing this, but there's also a law called common sense, and common sense would dictate that you don't put 4 of those houses within such close proximity. So I would challenge the commission to ask their legal department to see if there are any way that we can address this, because I think it's something that needs to be addressed for the sake of our neighborhood and our neighbors. Because like I said, one house, I'm all for that. I'll gladly accept and work with them. So thank you for letting me bring this to your attention, and if you need any other information, please contact me at 655 3545. Thank you.
Next person is Lorraine Guerrero. Guerrero. Close. I'm getting close.
Well, he's fixing to be out, so.
My name is Lorraine Guerrero, 915 Japonica Lane, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71118. I am going to read this and probably not look at you because I'm trying to get in my 3 minutes. Communication is the key to any successful endeavor. What is lacking at Caddo Parish Animal Services is just that. The ability to communicate and interact with the public and animal rescues in a beneficial manner. Time and time again, it has been proven that the Director of Animal Services has this problem, and yet you, as our elected officials, paid for by the taxpayers of Caddo Parish, refuse to take action. What do you want the nation to see? An ineffective commission or people of courage and character that do the right thing? I love my city and want it to be shown in a positive light whenever possible. The country and the world is watching. Are you willing to show them that we have the courage to do the right thing? On another note, every time we attend one of these meetings on an animal issue, which is every couple of months it seems, we are met with a lengthy diatribe of no diversity. Why don't you help people? Where were you guys during the flood, etc., etc.? Well, many of the people that I know in animal rescue do just that. They were sandbagging, helping people move, bringing water, food, or whatever was necessary during the flood. Last Christmas, an animal rescue and their volunteers spent their own money to buy 60 Christmas presents for children and to help serve at the Christmas party at the Hub Ministries downtown. And as for your diversity there, every single person that helped was white. Every single child was black. I volunteer for one rescue in town, and it is not the one that is proudly displayed on the shirt that I wear today. I support all rescues in their endeavors to save animals. I don't have to agree with all their policies and procedures to know that the end result is what we are all working toward. Is that not a form of diversity, to help others when you can, even though you're from different organizations? And just a point on the no diversity issue. As a young child, I was practically raised by a black family that was friends with my mother and father when my mother was sick. I have been in an interracial marriage for 30 years. I have children who are interracial. I have heard whispers and remarks from people over the years, and it has not always been nice. But Monday I was informed by another speaker that was here that because my husband is Hispanic and not black, that my interracial marriage does not count. I was never aware that there were only two races. I may be white on the outside, but inside I'm a human being just like all of you. Until we can all come together as a unified community, until our elected officials stop beating the no diversity drum, things will never change for our city. I'm not going to be able to finish. Can I have another minute?
Come on. Go ahead.
Take that.
Don't create problems until the problems are addressed at hand. Be community-minded, not district-minded or race-minded. All lives matter, and the welfare of companion animals God entrusted to us matter. They need someone willing to work with people and not dictate over them. They need someone who is excited to listen to new ideas and solutions and not brush them off. They need someone willing to work with the community and someone that welcomes volunteers at the shelter without the volunteers being belittled, called out for things that were misconstrued, or constantly having the area in which they are able to do service get smaller and smaller. I have met some incredible people that are on the staff at the shelter. They honestly want to do the right thing and be of service. Are these people being hindered by a dictator mindset? It is our shelter, not the director's shelter, or even just the commissioner's shelter. It is the taxpayers of Caddo Parish's shelter. Let's not make this an issue of diversity, no diversity, or anything other than what it is, and that's doing the right thing.
Thank you. Next person is Brian Moulton.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Molitor. I live at 2838 Lakeview Road, Shreveport, 71107. I only got a couple of things to say today. Number one, I was kind of taken aback at the end of our meeting last Monday when it was pointed out to us that we're not a diverse group. Well, we're not a group. We're concerned citizens. Be it how it may be, whoever shows up here because they're concerned. It's not my fault. It's not our fault what color or what race they are. That has nothing to do with the issue at hand. The issue at hand is we have somebody that's in control of animal services that should not be there, period. There are strict policies set up, guidelines set up by the Caddo Parish Commission, not only the Commission, but also by the Caddo Parish Human Resources. They've been violated numerous times by Director Harris. There is no such thing as I'm just going to call it what it is. It's smoke and mirrors. You folks think that you can sit here and tell us that an investigation is needed to get rid of this man after what he's done. That's not the case. Caddo Parish is an at-will hiring and firing. That's all there is to it. If you break policy, you get fired. Happens every day in every line of business in the world. If you don't do what you're supposed to be doing, you can't prove yourself with your record, you don't have a job. Not saying that he doesn't belong somewhere else in this parish doing something else, but what he's doing where he's at is not working. There are other people that are more suited for that job already in positions at Caddo Animal Control. I think you guys should take the time, look inside of what you've already got before you start losing people that you really do need to be valuing. I know for a fact that because of the way Harris runs that facility, that a lot of the people that work there can't speak out against policies that are being broken. If they bring it up, they risk losing their jobs. They risk being demoted. It's not right. Same thing happens with the rescues. If a rescue sees something that they don't think is right, they can't bring it up because guess who is the one involved in licensing the rescues? Director Harris. Director Harris doesn't like what he hears, then the people don't get to say what they need to say. It all comes down to, I know that you guys are hoping we're going to go away. It's not going to happen this time. I'm going to be at every meeting. I'm going to say the same thing over and over again until I hope everybody here understands that we have an issue. This issue is bigger than the animal control. We are the largest parish in the state of Louisiana. We get more animals than any other parish, any other two parishes combined every year through Caddo Parish Animal Control. Why can't we find somebody that knows what to do and how to do it and start promoting from within the Caddo Parish Animal Shelter and put the people in place that are already there that want to help and want to make this work? Mr. Harris needs to go. Everybody agrees with that. I know they do. If you don't agree with it, you've got blinders on. This is an ongoing situation. It happens, it's been going on for me. I've been dealing with this since March. How many times have you guys seen my face in here? How many of you know my name? I'm going to keep coming back, and I'm going to keep saying the same thing over and over again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bolton. Next person is Ken Griff.
That's correct, Brad.
Kenneth Kraft, 157 Archer Avenue, Shreveport, 71105. And unlike August 17th, I'm not running for District 4, but I am retired and I'm concerned about public safety. I was doing a little review of the Caddo Parish 9/11 Ops Center. I may be incorrect. If so, somebody correct the record, but I've been told if it gets a direct hit from a tornado, it gets destroyed. If that is not true, the structural engineer who told me that is incorrect. We need structural, strong, tornado-proof ops centers in every parish. Moreover, we need to go back like the 1950s as a child when we practiced thank you, Lord, the Soviet nuclear attack that never happened. We'd get on the floors and the air raid sirens would go off. Our oldest son in Omaha, Nebraska, yesterday at 11 a.m., the whole town, every Wednesday at 11, the sirens go off. Oklahoma City every week, Kansas City every week. Terrorists come in two types, human and Mother Nature. We can only do so much. about the Aaron Holmes or the Hauser in Lafayette or the guy in Charleston, Dylan Roof. We can do a lot more about the natural terrorist called a tornado. In Moore, Oklahoma and my dates may be wrong, I don't rehearse, I just Google the iBrain, but I think it was May 20th of 2011. No, 13. F5 tornado hits Grayson and Cleveland, Abraham counties, and it hits a school where 4 or 5 children die, Park Plaza Elementary, and then it hits another school a little while later called Pineview Elementary, and nobody dies. The only difference, the F5 stayed in F5. The difference is the second school had a structurally tornado-proof building where everybody went. Even though their school was destroyed, not a soul was hurt. Whether it's Joplin or Enterprise, Alabama, where 10 children died on the floor with their hands over their head in the fetal position as the roof caved in and the steel girders crushed their lives. We've got to have a joint effort among all levels, whether it's FEMA, the state, emergency preparedness, Caddo Parish, City of Shreveport. We need to install tornado sirens. Is this new to me? No, I mentioned it in 1981 when Billy Hanna was mayor. I'm not giving up like this other gentleman. 34 years later, we can have problems that come and go, like monuments and Confederate battle flags at the courthouse, animal control, but we must. One of the main oaths we take as public officials at all levels is to serve and to protect. I would submit we're not protecting. I think we have a public safety committee of the commission or some smaller group. I'd be happy to volunteer. I'm retired. Others would. But let's seriously think about getting sirens to warn us and about getting a special ops center that can take a direct hit. What good is it if it's destroyed? How do you coordinate rescue if it's destroyed? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brill. No other cards. Next item.
We have no visitors. We move to special resolutions. Special resolution of recognition to Mr. Reverend Billy Jeter.
So moved.
Second.
Please stand.
Please stand. Mr. Jeter here.
Yes, he's here.
Peter, if you'd come, I guess your wife come to the front, if you'd like. Resolution of commendation to Reverend Billy R. Jeter. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission desires to give appropriate recognition to those men and women of Caddo Parish who reflect favorably and positively upon themselves, their families, and all the citizens of the parish. And whereas Reverend Billy Jeter, who on August 4th, 2015, by the grace of God, discovered a burning vehicle in his neighbor's yard with a gentleman inside on Pine Hill Road, and whereas knowing every second counted to ensure this individual was safe, he disregarded his own safety and jumped into action, removing the man from his vehicle that was engulfed in flames just moments later. And whereas Reverend Jeter proved more than equal to the task, with no reservations, he found a way to remove the young man from the burning vehicle and getting him out of harm's way, proving that there are good Samaritans in Caddo Parish that care for the safety and well-being of others. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission, meeting in a legal and regular session this 3rd day of September 2015, it does hereby extend its most sincere expressions of appreciation and commendation to Reverend Billy R. Jeter for bravery displayed in making sure a young man was safe and unharmed during a time of emergency. Signed, Lyndon Johnson, Matthew Lynn, Vice President.
Official photograph.
It's that time of the year.
Someone trying to get us some publicity.
Good evening, council members and everyone that's assembled. Coach Johnson probably can attest to this. Years ago, my son was in Little League, and I would see his face many times. And Michael Williams, I know of your work, and even the lady that thought so much of you. For most of my life, since I was 16 years of age, I took it upon myself to try to help young people from Sunday school to our community. And some of these children, you know, they People said that they'll never amount to anything. But a lot of these children have gone on beyond what the expectations of their lives were. I work at University Health Hospital, and I work the 3 to 11 shift. And most people don't know that that shift, we get all the traumas from car wrecks to whatever. And we have to be first responders. We have to be able to do our job without thinking. But I really give a lot of credit to my mother and my father and my grandmother and most certainly even my wife and my children. Because when I thought about that, when I finally thought about it, and my children said to me, "You could have been in that car." A lot of people don't know. I've sustained neck and back injuries that most surgeons don't want to touch. And my son said, you know, "Dad, if you had been in the wrong position, your left side would have gone numb, and we would have had 2 funerals and not 1." But thanks be to God for him giving me whatever it is that he's given me to do the things that I do, not just on that day, but every day of my life. God bless you.
Some other commissioners want to say something. We'll start out with Commissioner Cox.
When people like you step up to the plate at a moment's notice, that says something about character. Because a lot of people would say, well, what do I do? And some people are just born leaders, and they say, you know, let's go get it. And that's what you did there. My daughter is in nursing school, and she wants to be in the trauma unit. So I look at you and see that, you know, there is hope for younger people.
Yes.
Because they see what you've done. And, you know, there's acts of kindness all around the world. There's acts of bravery all around the world. But when it's here at home, and after the tragedy we've had in Shreveport the last couple of years, it's nice to see somebody step up to the plate without being asked. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to echo the sentiments of my colleague, Commissioner Cox. You know, being a former Shreveport firefighter for 10 years, I was paid to be courageous and bravery. But you are the real hero, because it was a thankless job for you to do at that time. You just responded, and hope that spirit can become contagious in our community as an act of service with a servitude attitude. And I'm not always looking for some in return, but recognize that only what you do for Christ will last. That was no accident you were there. No. God appointed you there to do a mission, and you completed the mission. And I'm glad that you live in our neighborhood and our community and do a great job in Mount Canaan. Pastor, great place, great church, and leadership always trickle down to the sons of the church. So you can see the tradition to continue to go on to provide the services that the people need in the Allendale community. They go far reaching than what you did. I've been knowing the work that you do. You're very humble about what you do in the community. You don't look for no media coverage. You don't look for no TV. You don't look for posturing. You did it out of the kindness of your heart. Because you truly are a Christian after God's own heart. So here again, hope we can spread some of that atmosphere and enthusiasm about service, you know, about commitment to, like he said, standing up, stepping up, and not accepting mediocrity, but making a difference in the lives of people's lives. So, hey, congratulations and good luck, and anything we can do to help you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. My sentiments exactly. I thank you so much. I can tell that you have a very humble spirit. I know that the anointing of God is on you, and it's a fresh wind to see some positiveness in our communities. I thank you for that bravery, for being just who you are and doing just what you did. May God continue to bless you in all that you do, you and your wife.
Don't run for public office now. Don't do
that. Reverend Jeter, I'm impressed, and your knee-jerk reaction to help a person is truly impressive, and God bless you and your wife. Thank you for being here. That's all.
Commissioner Evers.
Mr. President, I just wanted to make sure that you make Reverend Jeter aware in the event that you want a DVD of these proceedings, that we could have one ready for him.
Yeah. The fire department hired too. They
Ms. Jeter, you want to say anything?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Good evening,
Good evening.
and thank you. As his wife, I am so grateful to God that he is here to receive this recognition, because had it been the other way that we don't want to think about, perhaps I may have been here by myself. But I give thanks to our Heavenly Father. If I may, I'd just like to share a concern. And I did write a really long, nice love letter to Commissioner Johnson about the situation where the accident took place in our yard. We live at the bottom of a curve, and to date, my parents have been there 53 years, 54 years. And so I, as a little girl, often witnessed my dad do some of the same things that my husband did 3 weeks ago. Because of that curve, it's steep, the drivers underestimate it, and they often end up in our yard, car turned upside down. We had a tree right next to our driveway at one time. A car did the same thing this gentleman did, airborne, split the tree in half and landed on the other side of our driveway upside down. And on that particular evening, my father had just got through cutting the grass in the ditch. So my plight, my concern, my husband and I, and since we're living there now, he's learning about this popular space in our yard. We are pleading and asking and praying that there can be some caution lights or something put up at that curve, because last year another commissioner's daughter was killed in that spot trying to go around the mailman. And when we go up to the mailbox, the curve it's blinding. So as you're walking up the driveway, you may not see any cars coming, but by the time we make it to the mailbox, get the mail, cars are facing us. I'm looking, is it west? West. And the cars are facing me coming down the street. And I don't know, like I told him in that letter, I sometimes have to run down a ditch because I'm thinking they're going to miss the street and come off on the side and clip me. And my mother is 80-something, and she likes to go to the mailbox when we're not home. And we're trying to convince her that she just can't do that anymore. So there are about 8 neighbors that live like on either side of the curve who are all senior citizens. And they face the same thing when they walk down their driveway, cross Pine Hill Road to go to the opposite side to get their mail out of the mailboxes. So we're just praying and asking that you will support and help us to get more signs that communicate more danger out there. I did speak to this gentleman who does put the signs out, and they did an awesome job with putting the signs in front of our home that faces McDaniel Drive as you drive in to the Pine Hill Road to stop to make your right or your left. We thank God for those. My father had tried to get something like that for years, so I know he's smiling on us right now. But when we come out of that curve, I'm asking if we can put some caution lights up, some of those little ridges in the road to make the drivers know to slow down, or just whatever that can be done. We need something there because we've had 2 teenagers before you approach the curve who lost their lives a couple of years ago. And so it's, we just might as well call it a dead man's curve now. And I'm not going to belabor it, but thank you so much. And we hope that something can be done to help discipline our drivers coming in and out that way. They did put a sign up, 45, they reduced the speed limit.
But that's just like
That's a joke. But the police could really meet their quota if they sat there in their curve. And
That's what I'm saying.
they could really meet their quota if they sat right there and caught those drivers in that area. Thank you.
We still got Commissioner that want to talk. Commissioner Cox.
Is this in the city or the parish?
This is in Parish.
Okay, so why shouldn't we get the administration, Robert Glass
I'll get to
together?
that when they get to me to talk.
Well, I got to it first. I hate to see this because on Baird Road, my father-in-law has the same kind of curve, And every time he puts up a mailbox, he puts one sturdier and sturdier. And one time he planted one about 4 foot in the ground, still 4-inch pipe, and split a car in half.
I left that part out. That has happened to us. My dad is replaced about 22, and he did the same thing. Same identical thing. Yes.
And the bad part about it is, you can put cops out there and write as many tickets as you want, but there's gonna be that one day they're not there. So, yeah, we need to look at something like that, because who's not to say they missed that curve and come in your house?
Well, he almost did.
Yeah, so,
If the wheels hadn't pancaked on his car, he was headed right to where I was.
yes, sir.
All right. The other thing about that curve is that when you're coming at a curve, it takes a dip right in the middle of it. So if you're really traveling at a very fast speed, you're gonna be airborne. The other thing that will probably help is put more reflectors, when you're approaching the curve, to at least let them know that it's there. Because I think they'll see that, even in the rainiest night, that would kind of help.
I know from past experience, we looked at putting speed bumps up in certain parts, and they don't do that no more.
Can't do legally.
So I'd like for the parish to get together and go do a survey of that next week and see what we can do as far as getting some lights up, getting the sheriff's department out there, and don't do it on certain days, do it on and off, around the clock. Start writing some tickets. Thank you.
All right.
No, I did hear from the young man. My son, I guess, found him on Facebook, and he and his girlfriend, because I made a comment the night after I pulled him out of the car. I said to the fireman, I said, for some reason it looked like God revealed to me that this boy had some issues with his family, whether it was his parents or his girlfriend or whatever. And on Facebook, when my son told me about that, he admitted that he had some things that were going on with his parents that made him take a second look. Because had he died, the parents and whatever else was going on in the situation probably would have really just plagued them the rest of their life. So, but thank you again.
All right, I got, I guess, the last word on this. Reverend Jeter, appreciate you for your heroic act. You could have been like some other people and just stayed inside, saw what happened, just dialed 911 and waited for the paramedics to show up. And the accident actually didn't happen in your yard, it was in your neighbor's yard. And so you took the initiative to go over there and to get that young man out of his vehicle. When I talked to your wife, she told me about all the other past incidents that have happened. And, we put some additional signs out, but, I mean, that still is not enough for what has gone over throughout the years. And today, get Robert Glass, our Public Works Director, and our Assistant Public Parish Administrator, to meet with you over to the side so they can get a little bit more information about what's going on, and that we can actually get somebody out there to start looking at what we can do to try to minimize this from happening again. One life has already been lost in that area, and we don't need to have another one, especially if we can make this technology that's available that can help them to slow down or to put some up so that people won't go into that curve like that. So I support what you've done, and that with me, and I will make sure that they'll go out there and they look at it to make sure that we can do something to help save another life. Thank you.
I just want to add one thing. I'm the wife. I'm watching all of this as it's happening, and I'm telling him, I know you're not getting ready to try to get in that car. And he said, I just can't stand here and watch the man burn. And so I just started praying. But I just want to say, my husband removed that gentleman from the car, pulled him away about 15, 20 feet the first time the car goes up in flames. After he makes sure he's okay, my husband went back a second time to that car with it burning and made sure there was no one else in the car. And when just as he was trying to make it back to where the gentleman was, the car exploded again.
Look at God.
And I just want to say, look at Jesus.
That's right.
And so a lot of people, oh yeah.
Why you do it?
But yes, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I just want to say thank you.
He
and
will.
I love my husband.
Save the best for last.
Randy, would you meet with them and Robert too? Okay. Next item.
We need to vote on this
Let's vote.
Need y'all two to vote. I was talking to Escabay and Dominique.
11-0, that
Next,
passes.
we have special proclamation declaring September 2015 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and second to special proclamation of declaring September as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. I don't think no one is here from that organization, so let's just vote. And we'll make that part of our permanent meetings. That passes 11-0 as well.
Next, adopt the regular session minutes from August 20th.
Move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Lynn, seconded by Commissioner Escaday. Commissioner Thibodeau.
Want to englobe number 9, number 10 is that.
Second.
Okay, we have a substitute motion to englobo 8, 9, and 10. Those are the regular session, the special session, and the special session from the 17th and the special session from the 31st. Second by Commissioner Dominique. See no one that wishes to speak, let's vote. That passes 11-0.
Next, we move to communiques and committee reports, administration response to information from requests.
Yes, President Johnson. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
We have to select another physical agent for us, and it's going to be coming up soon. I'd like Ms. Bryan to go ahead and explain the process to you all, so you'll be aware before you get to your next regular meeting. Bryan?
Yes, Commissioners, we've placed at your stations a cost analysis for the fiscal agent bank proposals that we received in. We will have a representative from each bank at your September 14th meeting, and the Commission will choose a bank at the September 17th meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Now,
Something else?
yes, sir. My last item, Commissioner Lynn made a request Monday for some information on the Wintergrave report. I had that for you, Commissioner. I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
And
You
also,
could probably just email it to everybody, I guess.
yes, sir. I have
But I
copies
won't.
for your committee members on the Animal Services Committee. And also the Saturday hours has been worked out. They'll be answering the phone this coming Saturday.
Will they be answering the phone every Saturday after that also?
Yes, sir. Beginning
Thank
of Saturday.
Thank you.
That concludes my report, sir.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Cox.
I had two things on the banks. We got 4 here. How many gave us bids?
4.
That's all?
That's it.
Okay. Is there any, what advertisement did we do, or did we just, these are the ones we've used in the past, so these are the ones we sent notice to, or what?
No, sir, we advertise in the newspaper.
Okay. All right, answers that question. Second, if I can get a okay from the president, Ms. Donna would give us an update on the lawsuit with the jail right now.
Yeah, that's fine. We filed that suit at the end of June. Service has been requested. We're waiting for the state to be served. And at that point, they'll make an answer and we'll start going through the discovery process.
So it's another 2 months out.
Could be another lot longer than that out.
You can get a trial date.
So we'll have a new governor by the time all this comes up.
Yes. I would venture to say that's a safe guess.
Won't be here anymore when that's
I
taken
won't be
care of.
here, but I'll still raise a little cane about it. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Citizens.
Woody, did you have an opportunity to meet with the human rights lady from New York
Yes, sir, I did.
concerning the HIV/AIDS in our current prison, jail, and what the healthcare costs, and what are we doing to ensure that? I'm just saying, when they're in there, is there any programs to address HIV/AIDS testing and prevention? And when they're discharged out, do we track those inmates to see if they spread HIV/AIDS in the community? I think we need to, I know it's very expensive, but there's a federal grant called the Ryan White Grant. The Ryan White Grant.
Yes,
It's a federal grant that any inmates, or when they're out of prison, they can receive the service. Now they can receive the service while they're in prison. I don't know if they've been convicted of anything. So I don't know if they received that service, but it's a serious problem. It's a civil rights problem. It's a human rights problem. I feel they need to be addressed. If they're not getting them service, why they're not giving those services? What's up?
Sir, just for the record, we met, I think it was Monday morning, Tuesday morning, and the sheriff's representative was there along with staff, and everything that we could do legally as a government organization, we are doing that. And we are also paying for the medication that the inmates are receiving now at the jail, and we are doing testing. And so we just talked about when they leave the jail, what could be done. And the lady that Ms. Megan that came from the Human Rights Watch organization, she made some recommendations that we can pass information to those folks leaving, because once they leave the jail, we don't have a connection with them. But there are agencies like the Philadelphia House and others that they can go to for services to continue the medication. And what we discovered in our process of talking this week is that when they come to us, we provide the medicine for them, which is very expensive.
Yeah.
In one case, one patient is $65,000 per month treatment. And we had another case that was $25,000 per month. But there is an agency that would help alleviate that when they leave the institution, as well as perhaps looking at the ADAP process, that we can get money while they're at our jail being held for whatever reason.
Then the past, that was referring to, once they become a DOC to the state, then the state pick up that
take care
cost?
of that, yes, sir.
Would that be University Health now?
Well, we currently use University Health within our care if they require that level of treatment. But when they leave and go into goes to the state system, the state take care of that just like we do on the local level. They provide whatever service that they need while they're in our institution. By law, we have to provide that.
By law?
Yes, sir. But the missing component is when they leave.
I'm talking about we got to track them, because if they're mainstream with the other inmates, there is no way to police that, because when they want to do something, they go do it.
Yes, sir.
And so my concern is when they're out of the care of the parish of the state and discharged into the community, the mainstream in the community, then what? That's what I'm nervous about.
But
I'm nervous about them in jail and out of jail. So
they get the counseling of where to go when they leave, but they frequently do not go there.
And the medication, you said it was $65,000, $25,000. You said that medication works pretty well, too, for them, as long as they're on the medication.
Right. Problem is, when they leave the jail, they don't have access to that level of care, and they quit using it.
So you're saying while they're in there, they get the health care cost for being tested for prevention and information and everything?
Yes, sir.
How much that cost? Do you have a cost on that?
It varied, but I understand the testing is relatively inexpensive. We do that.
I mean, what's the cost we've been paying thus far?
The cost?
Yeah, can I have that before the end of the meeting today? I'd like to have
You
it.
want the cost, sir?
I don't have the exact cost. I have what we're paying in relation to our monthly medical bills. I will say though, I think when...
I don't think it's funny, guys, that's laughing around this table about people being in prison that are not getting their medication for HIV/AIDS. That's a serious epidemic. It could be one of our children, or it could be one of us. So I wouldn't laugh about that if I was you. I take that very seriously. Thank you.
I was just saying that I will say in meeting with the sheriff, they do testing. They don't do whole-scale testing of all inmates that come into the facility. There has to be some level of indication to them, and then they test. But they do provide, if an individual is HIV positive, they do provide the meds, the cost for the meds. Well, they bill the parents for that. We don't have any information in relation to the actual inmates. We don't have that information. The sheriff's office would maintain that, and obviously due to HIPAA regulations, they would not provide that level of detail to the parish.
Well, I know about HIPAA compliance, being in the medical industry, but there's got to be a system where we can confidentially find a way to track these men and women that are full-blown AIDS and try to make sure they continuing care after they leave our facilities, so we won't be contaminating our entire parish.
Mr. Williams, I think the outcome The desired outcome of the visit was to develop something for that purpose.
Okay, all right. So you're saying you don't have, do you subcontract it out to a independent agent to provide the testing, or do they do it in-house?
Well, from my understanding, they administer a local kit that gives an immediate response.
For prevention, for testing?
Pardon me?
You're saying for testing?
Yes. Am I wrong now? Yes. Let's speak up.
The one that they do now is actually some kind of panel. They don't do the rapid response one because of the potential for a false positive. And then they would have to go back and do the panel anyway. And it's my understanding that the panel that they do run, if they're given the indication, is $100 per person, which would be for if every inmate was tested, which is why they limit to the persons who come in and indicate that they have HIV or something like that. But they do have them fill out paperwork to let the jail know, all the inmates fill out paperwork to let the jail know what diseases or what medications that they have, so that they can make sure it's provided to them when they are in the jail.
Well, I'm saying they may be embarrassed, they may not want to, I think we can't take inmates' words in prison about their health issue unless we test them and we'll know for sure that they're negative. So I'm saying we need to find a system where every last one of those that come in there need to be tested. Not going on their word. We need to know for sure. We need to work on a system to do that. Not the ones that come out full blown that has a history, but the ones we don't know about. That's the problem. Thank you. We need to work on that.
Commissioner Evans.
The American Legion Post 14 will host its annual Cross Lake Flotilla on Saturday, September the 5th, beginning at 11 a.m. and culminating at 8 o'clock p.m. Be family oriented. We have a poker run with a $20 entrance fee. On your donations, we have a decorated boat parade, which will be on Cross Lake with no entry fee, and there will be cash prizes awarded. Plenty of food booths, full-fledged family-oriented activity this year. This year we have a celebrity dunking booth to be dunking for dollars. The donations will be for veterans programs. Yours truly will be on at noon until 1. Brian Crawford, the CEO of the city of Shreveport, to come on at 1 o'clock. Robin Enke at 1:30. She's the event chair and outgoing queen of Centaur, our Mardi Gras crew. Jerry May with Channel 3 TV anchor will be on at 2 o'clock. Ralph Montgomery, Mr. Weather. Gerald Bowman, Caddo Commissioner at 3 o'clock. Jerry Bowman, City Councilman, District G at 3:30. Dan Jovic, Channel 6 anchor. And Caddo Constable Eric Hatfield at 4 o'clock. Doug Warner, KSLA TV News anchor at 5. Corey Ryan, KVKI radio personality at 5:30. And Edward Lamb, the post commander of American Legion post, will be at 6 o'clock. We're asking that you all would come out.
What time you'll be there? I will not.
12 noon, 12 to 1. The Westview Christian Church, and along with the Timberline Homeowners Association and Deer Creek Homeowners Association, will hold a joint community block party and national night out on Saturday, September the 19th, beginning at 5 o'clock p.m. until 7 o'clock p.m. Family oriented. We'll have inflatables for the children. We have informational booths for all the citizens relative to property standards, neighborhood covenants. We'd also like, Mr. Wilson, if we could get animal services to come out if they have some pets like they bring out in a little cage up for adoption. We have like to sit up for them there, as well as mosquito, the West Nile brochures, adoption and spaying information that they can provide to the attendees. The Caddo Parish Sheriff's Department will be there with information relative to community and public safety, as well as Caddo Fire District 3. We'll have fire protection, a fire truck there, also an EMS vehicle that will provide free blood pressure checks for the residents. We ask that all would come out. I'd like to also, the Pioneers Day Heritage Festival, which will be held in the town of Greenwood, September the 18th and 19th. September the 18th, they kick off with live bands that evening, watermelon supper. Saturday morning, the 19th, we kick off with the annual pancake breakfast. Beautiful parade starting at 9 o'clock a.m. Then we'll go to the park in the town of Greenwood, where there'll be various booths set up, food vendors, entertainment all day long. And we ask that all would come out and participate. It's an excellent festival in a small town, good food, good prices. You thoroughly enjoy yourself. We ask that you come out. Closing, I'd like to acknowledge some of you may know and some of you may not know Lieutenant Colonel Walter Nathaniel White Sr., Mr. Walter White, who was a Caddo Parish teacher for 29 years. He taught me geometry in the 7th grade, always a mentor. He was in the military for 29 years, probably my reason for joining. I always see him so neat and upright and articulate and disciplined. I wanted to emulate him. He died suddenly Wednesday a week ago. He was buried last Saturday. He's the principal at, he started out his career at Union High School, where he taught mathematics. Also, he was the principal at Bethune and subsequently the principal at Lanier Junior High, where he graduated. And I had the honor and privilege, I think, to give the graduation speech to one of his first middle school classes graduating to high school. And I had seen him about 6 weeks ago, and I always ask him, was I living up to what he had taught me? So it was good to see that. So all of us, would you acknowledge and give condolences to that family. He's also the brother of Miss Laura Timberlake, which we all know. Thank you.
Commissioner Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to remind everyone that the Animal Services and Welfare Committee meeting will be at 5:30 today, meeting following this meeting here at Government Plaza. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Cox. Pass. All right, next item.
Just wanted to, I gave a copy to the president, but we did receive our letter from Ms. Baker's resignation from the Secretary of State. We have 20 days, which will make it on or before the 17th for the appointment for that position. Next, we'll move to the president's report.
Okay, last couple of weeks I've been noticing on the news, they've been talking about the Rutherford House and how the city council and the parish commission and the school board is supposed to be putting $60,000 a piece up. We haven't had that come up. We haven't had discussion about that. So it's gonna come up from staff amending that, or
But, yeah.
well, I'm talking to the administration. Talk to administration.
I'll let you do it. Oh, yeah, yes, sir. We already funding them at 40,000.
Right. Right.
And
But I'm
so
saying that
we were
they're
gonna-
saying that they need 60,000 from each body.
Yes, sir. We're going to brief that to you during the budget process, but we think we have funds sufficient for that.
Okay.
We didn't see it as an obstacle at all, since we're already providing that funding.
Okay, thank you. That's it on the president. Next item.
Next, we move to public hearing on ordinance, ordinance number 5509-2015, amending the budget
He
of estimate
wanted-
revenues.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I have the floor. It's the president report.
Yeah, but he wanted to comment on it.
I asked the administrator for it.
Just give him a
No,
purpose.
I have the floor, Mike. Okay.
But he
I
shouldn't
asked,
give him
I
the
asked
right
the
to
question
speak.
to the administrator. This is the president report.
I know.
I gave my report.
Yeah.
I asked the administrator a question. So we're moving on to the next item. Next item.
Public hearing on ordinances, ordinance number 5509, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund for the year 2015, providing appropriation of $3,700 for the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association.
That's y'all.
All right, it's a public hearing.
Public hearing.
I
Okay,
understand.
public hearing is now open for ordinance number 5509. Is there anyone that wants to speak in favor of this ordinance?
Mike, hold his hand.
Rob Broussard, President of the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association, 451 Sanford, Shreveport, Louisiana. We'd appreciate your vote to approve it. And, we have a family festival night coming up on October 16th that we are working in conjunction with Crispus Shumpert and SPAR to host a big event at AC Steer Park. We'd like to invite y'all all there. And at that time, we also have invited, or in the process of inviting businesses to come. And we feel like that this will be part of the efforts that we're making to encourage our residents to shop at our local businesses as identified in the proposal that's before you. Thank you.
Is there anyone that want to speak in opposition? In favor? Okay, come on.
Kenneth Kraft, immediate past president of Broadmoor Neighbor Association. Want to thank the commission for considering this ordinance, and especially Commissioners Lynn and Escaday. The money will be put to good use, and believe me, we will track the use of the funds and comply with all the requirements. It's just a really good opportunity, and we appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that want to speak in favor of? Is there anyone that will speak in opposition of this particular one? Seeing no one, public hearing on ordinance number 5509 is now closed.
Next, we move to ordinances for final passage. Ordinance number 5509 of 2015, amending budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund, providing appropriation of $3,700 for the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Lynn, seconded by Commissioner Escaday. Commissioner Lynn.
I was just going to say that this was money that had been allocated last year, that we had run across these scenarios in the past, that this money had never been allocated, and that this was money that had not been spent. This money was allocated last year according to financials, and so this is just the delivery of it. That's all.
Okay, Commissioner.
Okay. What do we mean money that hadn't been allocated?
No,
Was that
has
carried
been.
over from, I'm not talking to you, administration, was that carried over from a previous administration?
No, sir, it was
Previous budget year?
yes, sir, it was appropriated in 2014, and they never received those monies, so they're asking for reappropriation in 2015.
And what's the purpose? Did I see something about mailing something out?
Yes, sir, based on what they provided us, they would like to do a marketing mail out.
Marketing mail out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I thought we couldn't appropriate money to neighborhood associations.
Commissioner, it would be for various projects, but you all do it for economic development. As long as they can show some measurable return from the development, then you all can make the appropriation.
Okay, so you say they're gonna mail out and market economic development of Broadmoor Neighborhood Association?
For those businesses in that neighborhood, yes.
That's all.
I guess going back and looking at this particular item that was allocated back in 2014, I believe, that the initial request was to repair a bell at AC Steer. At that particular time, council told us that that money could not be used for it. So that's why the money never was given to the organization, because they couldn't use the money to fix the bill. Now, they're proposing to do a mail out, and for me to do a mail out would not be appropriate to use taxpayers' dollars just for that purpose. The neighborhood association is doing it to help the businesses in the Broadmoor area. And to me, if the businesses in the Broadmoor area wanted help, they should all pool together a small amount of money to help do this particular task. I can't support it based on what it is. I was even in favor of doing the bill because I think that had value, but you said we couldn't do that. So to go to this just to try to spend the $3,700, I can't support. Commissioner Williams.
Thank you. I will be supporting. I think it's a good tool to use to track economic development to a particular community. I'm hoping that we can do it in our community in the future. We got the MLK, we got the Lakeside Allendale Partnership, Cherokee Park. Now this sets the precedent for us to be able to model what the Broadmoor neighborhood is doing. And they can measure some results to bring business, and small business, the cornerstone of a neighborhood, jobs and opportunity. A lot of those washaterias hire employed people, antique shops, and bring tourism to the little area. So
Could you please silence your cell phone?
I think it's a good tool to use, and I hope that down the road we can share this model. I hope you can share the information with us and see how we can use it in our neighborhoods. So I commend your efforts on marketing and promoting your community, your district, and measure the economic impact that it may have. And I think it's a good tool and a good use of the taxpayer money being used wisely to promote economic development. Thank you.
Commissioner Cox.
You know, in Southern Hills, we have the Business Association that puts on a event every year that brings in the businesses to showcase themselves. And we do mail outs for that. We do, we basically put on one night that goes from 5 o'clock to about 8 o'clock. And on our best time, we've had 4,000 people show up. On average, we have 2,000 people show up. Within the areas of Southern Hills, whether they may not be in Southern Hills, but they still hear about it and they come. Businesses get to put on their best. Taxpayers are paying money. We're collecting taxes off that. Businesses are staying alive by coordinating things together. They're not doing anything different than what we do in Southern Hills. We're trying to promote Southern Hills. They're trying to promote Broadmoor. At the same time, sometimes your older generation is not as adapted to emails and stuff like
Don't
that.
be talking about me.
Well, I wasn't looking at you to talk to you, but yeah, I was. Anyway, communication is key these days to get out your information. So I can see where this is going to be a valuable part for your event, and so I'm going to support it. We're looking at this amount of money. How much money do we give in NGOs to after-school programs that, school boards should be doing their job, not after-school programs. That's the way I look at some of these.
Oranges.
Yeah, you're a teacher, ain't you? I'm going to support Broadmoor simply because it's a good idea, and I think we would see a return on our money. Thank you.
Commissioner Epperson.
Timberline Homeowners Association, Deer Creek Homeowners Association, West Shreveport Alliance, West Peak Association, Fairway Forest Association. Out of our dues that our individuals pay, I can speak for Timberline, we take 50 cents, $1.50, and put it back for postage. That'll give us 3 mail outs. That's something I think we should budget. As far as disseminating and marketing information, we do press releases to the media. Most of them really would like to come out and see what the neighborhood is doing to improve themselves. Get a lot of free PR there. We do PRs to the radio station, which they do, and we have cleanup campaigns, a variety of things like that. So I think that those things should come from the individual homeowners association budget. They should budget that. And what we do is we budget for 3 mail outs a year. At 50 cents a person, that's $1.50 that comes out of that annual dues that they pay in our homeowners association for mail outs. And I think we open up a can of worms here. Everybody gonna be wanting, every homeowners association gonna be wanting something for a mail out. Thank you.
See no one else on the board? Let's vote. Goldman. That passes 9-2.
We have no ordinances for introduction. We need to ratify the minutes for August 31st.
Move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Lynn, second by Commissioner Williams to approve, to ratify the work session minutes. See no one that wishes to speak, let's vote. That passes 11-0.
Next, we move to resolutions. Resolution number 50 of 2015 approving issuance, sale, and delivery of not exceeding 300,000 certificates of indebtedness.
Move to take this off of the agenda for today.
Second.
Moved and second to remove this from the agenda. The one that wishes to speak. Basically, I want to take it off because of information I received today before the meeting that sewer district is not ready to do this right now. Moving to taking it off.
Weren't there two projects?
They're not ready to do it.
Either project?
Well, what I was told was they hadn't done what they were supposed to do, so can't vote on it if they're not ready to come to the plate. Want to say something, man?
I do. I mean, are we able to delay this and give them until the next meeting and just move it to the next meeting, or would that pass a deadline? I'd rather just move it to the next meeting if they're not ready, just to give them more time or something on that. Attorney Frazier or Ms. Bryant or...
Well, if we take it from the agenda, then all we gotta do is put it back on the next work session if that's the case. So the motion is just to take it from the agenda for today's agenda. And all you gotta do is add it back to the next if they get ready for it.
Just play on words.
Cox.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
You're not tabling it, you're just dropping it.
Drop it from today's agenda.
We're delaying it. We're removing it from the agenda.
Okay. Let's vote. Escaday is out, so passes 10-0.
Resolution number 52, 2015, assignment and transfer of state lease 19480 from Camterra Resources Partners LTD to Petrohawk Properties.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, seconded by Commissioner Dominique. See no one that wishes to speak as a maker. You want to say anything? Second. Let's vote.
He said he want to go walk.
I know. Vote. Okay. That passes 10-0.
Resolution number 53, adopting procedures to be utilized for the procurement with Louisiana Development Block Grant Funds.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Dominique, second by Commissioner Williams. As the maker of the motion, you want to say anything? No. As a second?
No.
See no one else, let's vote. That passes 9-0.
Resolution number 54, authorizing the parish administrator to request administrative consultant proposals for services.
Move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Lynn, second by Commissioner Williams. As the maker, you want to say anything?
Nope.
Seconder?
Nope.
See no one else that wants to speak, let's vote.
April Fool.
That passes 9-0.
Resolution number 55, authorizing the parish administrator to request engineer's qualification statement.
No move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, seconded by Commissioner Watts. Maker, you want to say anything?
Nope.
Second?
No.
See no one else, let's vote. April Fool. Y'all got jokes today.
We need to have a little fun. We've been stressed out.
10-0.
Resolution number 56, 2015, authorizing consolidation of precincts 28 and 67 for the purpose of reducing the number of voting machines and election commissioners.
Move to approve.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Lynn. As the maker of the motion, you want to say something?
I do. That's my District 3. Just leave.
I got you as the maker of the motion.
I'll just tell you. I'm sorry. I don't want no trouble.
Get past that point.
You said?
Yeah, I just want to ask, on early voting, Mr.
They got to be about to say.
Well, I'm just concerned about early voting. We only have one time for early voting. Why can't we have more than one? That's all.
State legislature.
It's actually.
Thought I'd get away with it.
State legislature.
As a second, you want to say anything? See no one else that wanted to speak?
That's sad. That's sad.
Y'all caught me.
That passes 11-0.
Resolution number 57, authorizing request of special exemptions to the requirement of LSA RS 18.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Dominique, second by Commissioner Holmes.
Don't need to speak.
Go, Pope.
As the maker, you want to seconder?
No, sir.
See no one else, let's vote.
Couldn't make up your mind?
That passes 11-0.
We have no old business. We move to new business. Setting date and time for receiving resumes and scheduling a special
moved.
meeting.
So moved.
Moved by the chair, seconded by Commissioner Watts. I don't have anything to say, it's self-explanatory. Seconder, you want to say something? Not a second. Oh, okay.
I'd like to make a substitute motion. If I can get a second.
Second.
What is it?
Get what the motion's made now.
You know, it's not that we don't
second it.
It's not that we don't trust you.
Let's hear it since it's seconded.
I was on the roll.
Okay, I would like to move that we take no action relative to this appointment, seeing as how the qualifying is so close, and that any person that would be interested in qualifying for this open seat, that they would do so. If I can get a second.
Yep.
That died for lack of second. Going to the original, new business. Anyone else want to speak? See none, let's vote.
Wait a minute, well, I can speak on this then, since mine died.
Second time.
I didn't speak on the first one. I made a substitute motion.
That was a time to speak. Go ahead.
Jumped all over.
I yield.
Well, I have a question.
That's what,
I
Can
mean,
I ask a question?
you want to ask a question?
Yes.
Get on the board. All right.
Yeah, I did second it at first, but I wanted to ask a question. Could we wait until after qualifications?
It is after qualifying.
It
So
is.
this is once
It
they
is after
qualify?
qualifying.
Next time we meet.
Okay.
That passes 10-1.
Move for adjourn. We got me, what, 5:30?
Yes, sir.
I got a date now, hurry up, man. I got a date, Cliff.
That's all.
I got a date, Cliff.